We just got back from Val Expo, and what an event. Folks from all over the country were there, practicing appraisers, lenders, AMCs, a whole host of appraisers and users of appraisal services. Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac had the big unveiling, right? The big unveiling, big news. Come right back and hear all about it. Hi, this is Bryan Reynolds. You're listening to the Appraisal Update Podcast, brought to you as always by the fantastic guys and gals over at Appraiser eLearning. We really have a great team. I'm honored and privileged to be part of that team. So you need some education, check us out at appraiserelearning.com. You know, I had a great time. Hal had a great time. Jim McLeod had a great time. I think the entire team had a great time. I just personally want to say thank you to everyone over at Appraiser eLearning. The entire team did a tremendous job at our first hosting of that conference, Val Expo in Las Vegas at the Mirage. I also want to shout out to Karen Conley. Oh my gosh, Jim Morrison and Navy Johnson. What an incredible team we've inherited, and they're a huge asset. And they really make Val Expo what it is. So thank you, Karen, Jim, and Navy, for all that you do in making this a big success. So as I said, we had lots of folks there. I hope you were there. If you weren't there, hopefully we'll see you next year, or hopefully we'll see you at the Appraisal Summit coming up, in under 30 days. And I'll talk a little bit more about that before I leave you today. I talked about Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac's big unveiling, and what I want to do is have you hear from other appraisers. I mean, I'll give you my take on it in just a little bit, but before we get to me and my thoughts, I want you to listen to other appraisers just like you, other practicing appraisers that are appraising property on a daily basis. We call them boots on the ground appraisers, right? And so I had the great opportunity to chat with some of those folks as they were coming out of the general session where Fannie and Freddie unveiled their new products. So let's see what appraisers like you have to say. Hey, Kathy, thanks for stopping by our booth. You just got out of the big reveal, the big Fannie Mae announcement about the new form. Oh, I can't say form, can I?
Not a form anymore, is it?
So tell the viewers, what are your thoughts about the redesign and the report that's coming out?
I am excited about the changes that are going to be made. Less C addendum, that has always been an issue for me, right? Where do you put it? Where are you looking for it? Where are you actually going to find that information?
So tell the listeners and viewers, what are you talking about right now?
So rather than C addendum, it's all going to be in the report that's being provided to your client at that point.
No more addendum. So
no more addendum.
If you have an area of the subject property that you need to tell a little bit more story, it's going to be expandable, and you tell your story right there in that space.
Right there.
You don't have to say, see page 42.
Right. And then any photos that are applicable to it as well are going to go right there, attached to it as well.
So do you think the typical appraiser is going to embrace this? Or are they going to be terrified by it? Or are they going to be mad about it? What are your thoughts?
Yes, and yes.
At the end of the day, how do you feel about it?
I think it's going to be a great change. I'm all about embracing the change anyways, though.
Yeah.
So, those appraisers that are willing to change with the industry are those that are going to stay with the industry long term.
The old form is old. It needs to go away. Thanks so much, Kathy, for stopping by and having a conversation.
Thank you.
Hey, Michael, you just got out of the presentation from Fannie Mae talking about, we can't say new form, can we? New report.
Redesign.
New report, new design. Tell us your thoughts. Were you impressed? Were you concerned? What are your thoughts?
I'm impressed with it. I'd like to learn more about it. Anything's better than the old form.
Yeah. I mean, that form is 20 plus years old, right? So this gets us in. And what about the in compliance a little better, hopefully? What did you think about no more addendums. You know, if you got to talk more about the site, there's be a section right there for the site. What are your thoughts on that?
It's better for the reader, I believe. It keeps us from having to do a whole bunch of boilerplate covering up all the miscellaneous stuff that they wanted us to cover before, or individual clients' requests.
Yeah. And are you? What concerns do you have? Do you have concerns that it's going to be hard for the typical appraiser to learn how to use this format, or is it going to be kind of user friendly? What are your thoughts?
I think it's going to be the same way as the old 1004 redesign. We're going to be all scared. We're going to not want to do it.
Yeah, sure.
And then we're going to slowly learn it, and then it'll be, mainstream.
We really don't have much of a choice, do we?
We're getting forced. We're getting forced this new form, but I'm ready for it.
Good.
I'm happy that it's there.
Good. So at the end of the day, you're optimistic about it. You're ready for it. You're not a resistor and saying don't do it.
No, I think it's good. I've been waiting for it.
Great. Michael, thanks for coming by and chatting with us over here today.
No problem.
So I'm here with Elaine. She just came out of the big reveal. What's the big reveal?
The UAD Redesign.
Yeah, so Fannie Mae made their big announcement today at Valuation Expo. We're excited about that. Tell me your thoughts on this redesign. I mean, we can't call it the new form, which is what I've called the old form.
Yeah.
I want to call it the new form.
I know, it's just a report.
So it's a report, all right? So tell my viewers a little bit about the new report coming.
Well, I am a newer certified appraiser, so I'm a little bit more adapted to the changes. I think the new reporting is going to be a great opportunity to give your detail while you're in that section instead of having to jump around between the addendum and the section in the form currently. So I think it'll be a little bit of a learning curve, but it'll reduce some headaches, hopefully.
So to your point, like right now on the old form, there's a line that says legal description, and there is no way you're putting a legal description on one line. So you have to say, see addendum, and then they got to turn to page 34.
Right.
So that's going to be eliminated, right?
Exactly.
You'll be able to just put everything, or
at least that's what it
cite.
seems.
Yeah, it will be like an expandable field.
Right.
And so talk about a little bit, I haven't talked about this yet, talk about a manufactured home versus a condo versus what we do now, 1004 on a single family. Do I have different places to go to do that?
You have different forms.
Okay.
You have completely different forms, different verbiage. Everything is different now currently, and so they're reducing that confusion for newer appraisers. You no longer have to second guess, like, am I using the right form? Where should I go? Because now it's just a little checkbox. So you get to click what report you're actually working on, and they will auto-generate the information that is needed to match that property.
So on the very onset, you're going to say, I'm working today on a manufactured home.
Right.
You click manufactured home, and it tailors what you're going to do based on your choice
based
at the
off
onset.
of what they said, that is what I heard.
Very cool. Now, you mentioned a learning curve a moment ago.
Yes.
Let's talk about that. Now, a lot of folks are ready for change. They embrace technology. They're okay with that. A lot of old dogs, don't like change.
Right.
And so, what is your prediction for? I know it's going to be different for all of us, but what's your prediction for you? Number one.
Okay.
A learning curve. How long is it going to take for you to adapt? And then, what about my typical appraiser watching right now? How long is it going to take them to kind of get on board with this?
Well, it depends on the individual, really.
Sure.
I think it depends on how established you are in your ways and your routine. I've worked with 2 supervisors now, and they both have different ways of doing things. So for your typical appraisers, I don't know. It kind of depends on the personality, what they're initially doing. But I think that for someone who is more willing to roll with what Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac are doing, they'll have a better understanding of what's going on. As if you're resilient against it, then of course you're going to have a harder time. But if you kind of bend with the changes, I think you'll probably move more steadily through the forms.
So you're suggesting keep an open mind.
Keep an open mind.
All right.
We all
so
have to.
At the very beginning, I think it was Ken made a comment. There's been some buzz or rumors or negativity that appraisers are going away. Fannie Mae's trying to get rid of appraisers.
Yeah.
Is that the vibe you got from Fannie Mae today?
No, not really. I mean, I was a trainee just last year. And so becoming a newly certified appraiser, of course, when you hear that buzz, I'm like, did I make the right decision? Even walking into this industry and putting in that investment in myself in this career, I don't know. I can't foresee the future, but I don't think we're going away. I think it might be different. But,
definitely going to be different, right?
But again, if we are willing to roll with the punches and have an open mind, like hopefully these changes won't impact the industry where the good appraisers go away.
Anything concerning, alarmful, frightful about this session? Did you walk out of there with any negative thoughts about this change?
No, not as of right now. It's still going on. There's a part 2,
yeah, it's
right?
still a little new, right? We still don't know what's happening.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Elaine, thanks so much for stopping by and joining me. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Hey, Glenn.
Hello,
thanks for
Bryan.
stopping by and chatting with me. You just got out of the big reveal.
Yes, I did.
Tell the viewers, what in the world was the big reveal?
There's a lot of data that's being compiled, and it's good data. It's nothing we're not getting now. It's just a better way of compiling it and presenting it. It's nothing new. It's been used for other valuation products like BPOs and where they don't have multiple forms, and it's a simple data flow. And that's all they're doing now. They're using a simple database to provide specialized forms.
So give the viewers a little sneak peek. Give us an example of how this is going to be different than what we do on a regular basis today.
I think it'll be easier for us to use staff to fill in forms because there's going to be a repetitive data. And in turn, if we can do that, we can delegate some responsibility and be better appraisers and be doctors and surgeons and things like that.
So, Glenn, is there anything you heard in this session that's concerning or alarming for you or any other appraiser out there?
Nothing alarming other than, change. And if you view change as alarming, then sorry about that.
Yeah. So how long, let's talk about change, right?
Yeah.
So appraisers out there, they're nervous, they've been mad, and I think that the mad and the frustration has shifted to fear a little bit.
Sure.
At the beginning of this session, there was some talk about, there's a lot of buzzwords out there that appraisers are going away, that Fannie Mae is trying to get rid of appraisers. What are your thoughts on that?
I don't feel that. I mean, obviously there's a significant investment of time and money for this project. If they were looking to use field inspectors for this project, it ain't going to work because I doubt they have the experience or the expertise to be able to do that.
Yeah. And why would they spend millions and millions of dollars and years to create a new report and then not use it if they got rid of us, right? That kind of doesn't make a lot of sense.
I think our role isn't going to change significantly, but I think we're going to become underwriters and surgeons and specialize in things, and these forms will allow us to delegate some responsibilities to others within our team and perhaps outside of our team.
Right. So the learning curve, how long do you think it's going to take for you or others to adapt to this new data set?
Heather mentioned a 7-hour class. Generally, if you're not up and running after the 7-hour class and some practice, there may be other options for you.
Okay, so you think you take a class, and it's been my experience that normally when you need to adapt to a change, you got to just kind of dive in and do it, right?
Absolutely. Many of us have used database forms.
Right.
Where you're just entering data and then it just populates another form.
Right.
If you're used to populating the forms, which we do now, it's just a different way of entering the same data. You're just entering it in nothing that looks like the form. You're entering it into just an aggregate or a repository.
So at the end of the day, do appraisers just need to find a new job, or do they need to keep an open mind and adapt to what's inevitably going to happen?
Open mind and attitude. That's where it's all at.
Thanks, Glenn, for stopping by. We appreciate it. Enjoy the conference.
1,000 thanks.
So as you can see, the appraisers that I spoke to all were very positive and optimistic and actually excited for this change. Before we get my take, I want to give a shout out and thanks to my sponsor, LIA Administrators and Insurance. For 45 years, LIA Administrators and Insurance Services has been offering E&O insurance to valuation professionals just like you. LIA applies superior customer service, exceptional liability, education, unparalleled claim defense to serve over 10,000 30,000 real estate professionals just like you. LIA offers commercial bonds, general liability, cyber liability, and so much more. Visit liability.com to learn more about how LIA can help you and your business. Thanks again, LIA, for your continued support of the Appraisal Update podcast. You know, they were at Val Expo, and you could go up and say hello to them, get to meet them in person, talk to them about your E&O coverage, or do a comparison, do a little shopping while you're there. That's the other benefit of attending a national conference, and so I encourage you to do so. You know, the Appraisal Summit is right around the corner. We're looking at September 16th through the 19th. This is at Planet Hollywood in Las Vegas. We'd love to see you there. If you missed out on Val Expo, don't miss out on your next chance to come see the team, to come see other folks in the profession. And you can ask these questions directly to Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. They're going to be there. In fact, on September the 19th, they're going to have a Fannie Mae / Freddie Mac forms redesign session. So if you missed it at Val Expo, come join us at the Appraisal Summit, and you get to kind of hear a little bit more about the new reports. So my take, guys, we're way past due. We're way, way, way past due. I say this constantly. Do you think a form that's almost 20 years old, a pre-printed form that was made effective 18 years ago to be exact, 18 years ago, gets you in compliance with the current edition of uniform standards? A form that was written or required 18 years ago gets you in compliance with today's requirements? No. The answer is no. We're doing a lot of review work right now, and I'm seeing kind of some patterns. And a lot of appraisers, I'm afraid, and I used to be one. I was the appraiser. I checked all the boxes on the form and thought, well, this is what Fannie and Freddie wants. I should be safe, right? No, you're not safe. Those forms were designed by Fannie and Freddie for Fannie and Freddie, not to get you in compliance with uniform standards. So there's areas that you have to supplement, and hopefully all that's going to go away with the new reports that will be coming out. You heard a lot of comments about the expandable fields. I think that's fantastic. You know, you say see attached addenda, and where is it, right? I gotta go on a safari to try and find what you were trying to communicate. And moving forward with the new reports, you won't have to do that. It's just an expandable area, right, where you're typing information regarding zoning or regarding the site or whatever you're doing. I'm pretty excited about it. I'm a human being just like you. I resist change just like you. I try to keep an open mind. You know, over the real estate office I do some work with, it seems like they make changes every month. It drives me crazy. But guys, after 18 years, we need a new form. And as you know by now, they're not forms, they're reports, right? So we're way, way, way past due. So I'm actually excited about it. I think this is a good thing for appraisers. Hopefully it's not a major learning curve. And I'm pretty excited about it. Now, I talked to Lyle, and I think we're probably still got some time. Okay, it's probably going to be 2025. It could be 2026 before these become a requirement. So you got a little bit of time to prepare and be ready, but you should really keep an open mind and probably embrace these changes. They're way past due. So I'm pretty excited about that. I will give a little note that I think would be good for Fannie and Freddie. Why don't you consider doing what the foundation does when it's going to make a change? When the Appraisal Standards Board is going to make a change to USPAP, they list out what those proposed changes are, and they send out what's called an exposure draft. And that's an opportunity for appraisers and users of appraisal services to comment on those proposed changes. And the foundation may change the potential change. Last update, they had 4 exposure drafts. That's the most ever until this update. This update, there are 5 exposure drafts, meaning they changed the change multiple times before they finally got a final product. The AQB does that with real property appraisal criteria requirements. The Appraisal Standards Board does that. I'd like to see maybe Fannie and Freddie do that. Something to think about, right? I will tip my hat and say that they did ask for your input, and this has been many, many years ago. They asked for your input via a roundtable discussion, and they invited appraisers. Hey, appraisers, we want your opinions. We want your thoughts, right? And sadly, not a lot of appraisers showed up. There were a lot of lenders and a lot of AMCs. I looked around the room, there was a handful of practicing appraisers. So we need to do a better job. We need to get involved. Join your state association if you're not a member already. Join a national association. There's several out there. Pick one that best suits you, or join all of them. Better yet. But don't just join, get involved. You can help shape the future of the appraisal profession if you just get involved. So think about it. Again, thanks to all those that attended Val Expo. Thanks for Fannie and Freddie for using that as a format to unveil your new report data set. Thanks to all the sponsors. Thanks to the entire team. I appreciate all the hard work. Man, we came back and just was exhausted, right? But we've got not quite a month to supercharge and get ready again for the Appraisal Summit. So we hope to see you at the Appraisal Summit in Las Vegas in September. Until next time, this is Bryan Reynolds, your host. You've been listening to the Appraisal Update podcast. Please stay safe, keep an open mind, and happy appraising.
The Appraisal Update podcast is brought to you by Appraiser eLearning.